Well, hello groovers, welcome. I'm Tori. If you're just joining for the first time, welcome to the Shxtty Kitty Kitchen. And today, exciting news this evening, we've got Glenn, who's also going to be cooking the same dish. That's his lovely kitchen that we can see right now. He's disappeared, that's fine. He's also doing a keto cheesecake apparently, so I've got a pen and paper over there. I'm going to take some notes. Or I may not actually. I'll just replay it and get the recipe from him. How's everyone doing on this in Tassie very brisk day? It only got to 13 degrees Celsius. Winter's on its way. But how's everyone doing tonight? I have to sort of look over there for chat. We've got Nom Nom Yummy. Hey, Glenn, you're back. How you doing, mate? Oh, I've got to unmute, Glenn. Sorry. That's better.
Sorry, I've been waiting for a delivery, and the guy was being a little bit snarky with me, and I said, just put it in the glass door and leave it there. I'll pick it up in a second. So,
do you need to go and grab it? You're more than welcome to.
Yeah, look, why don't I do that, and you can get started. I'll talk about the cheesecake's in the oven.
Oh, it's already in the oven. God, I just made it. I'm just loving your apron with all the wine glasses on it, and once again, I'm in my fuck apron, which I love.
Yeah, I thought I'd better look apart. So
fabulous, Avid. Are you going to be drinking wine while you're cooking?
I've already had a bottle, so we're good.
All right, we'll go and get your deliveries because I'm going to start. Have you, with this casserole that we're trialing for the first time, have you already made your cauliflower rice?
No, that's look. I've only got this little processor, so that it's going to take a little, while to deal with that. But
I might get on with making the cauliflower rice, which goes into the casserole. If anyone wants to know, Glenn, do you have cauliflower? Because you could just chop some up if you wanted to pop some in it.
No, I've got the cauliflower. It's just, so you've got cauliflower that you need to rice.
Yeah. So I'll just get on with doing that, and then you can jump on board. And I'm fascinated that you're going to be making this casserole and the cheesecake. Are you still doing the cheesecake?
Yeah. I know, it's going to be conflict of interest with the temperatures with the oven, but
see how you go.
It's all good.
It's all good.
Yeah.
All right, when you get your delivery, I'm going to adjust my camera so that it's down on the stovetop and bench, and I'll start doing that. We'll see.
I don't have something quite so sophisticated. I've just got my laptop on a chair. No,
but that's good. It's just nice to have some company, hang out in the kitchen together. We'll both be doing the same sort of stuff, so it's all good. I used to sort of have an angle like you, and then everyone said, "Oh, can you show the bench?" And I was like, "All right, then." So we're trialing that, and it got good thumbs up the other day. So
okay, cool.
Yeah.
Look, I'll go pick that thing up before I am in Sydney, so someone could just eat it at any time.
Someone mix it.
No, I'm pretty safe. Botany's actually a very safe area. People are pretty cool.
Whereabouts are you?
Sorry?
Whereabouts are you in Sydney?
In Botany.
Oh, right, yes, lovely.
Yeah, not very far from Port Botany, where all the big container ships come in, but it's used to be a really industrial area, and they're now sort of like everywhere that's close to Sydney is starting to get a little bit residential and
cool, yeah.
And people buying
I love the little harbour suburbs. The history behind harbours is so interesting. It's nice to be in a salubrious suburb. A suburb with a bit of a dirty history is always good, I reckon.
Well, yeah, there's a few pubs along the way. I'm thinking I can imagine there's been a few interesting
incidents. Oh, yeah.
I'm in Sandstone, so it's been there a hell of a long time. All right, I'll go grab this stuff and you
groovy.
Do you think?
All righty. See you soon, Glenn. Also, g'day to everyone over on Facebook. For some reason, Facebook is really slow to load. Hi, Kathleen. I'm making a keto chicken and mushroom casserole. And Glenn, who's also cooking, is making the same casserole, and he's also making a keto-friendly cheesecake. Anyone on Facebook, if you want to click that link, come over to YouTube. If you're not a regular YouTuber, it will ask you to create a channel, but it's a painless exercise, only takes a few seconds, and you don't actually have to put anything on a YouTube channel. It's just so they can verify your Gmail address, basically. I do try to jump backwards and forwards between Facebook and YouTube, but I do love everyone on Facebook land. Don't feel neglected. But you are more than welcome to come over to YouTube and join in the chat over there. All right. So what I'm going to do first is put my camera back down on this angle that shows you what I'm sort of up to. Bit of a chopping board there. So we are making a recipe from Diet Doctor. This one is available. See, I'm the headless chef now. But anyway, it's a new recipe. I haven't made this one before, but it is available to the public. Diet Doctor is a brilliant website if you're looking at getting into keto or low carb eating. And it's $10 a month, my subscription that I pay. But I like there's a lot of stuff on there that I really enjoy. But if you just want to go onto that website, there's quite a lot of recipes up there that are available to the public. And Diet Doctor said I was allowed to cook their stuff that's available to the public. So that's why I chose it. Well, hello there, Janelle. Welcome. Sweet spud, mashed greens and lamb chops for you. Nice. Well, if you want to grab a link and chat while you're cooking, I know you've got crappy reception, but you are more than welcome to. We don't all have to cook the same thing. So the first thing is your oven needs to go on to 180 degrees Celsius. Just check that you've got your rack in the middle of the oven. If you're in America, you'd be doing 350 Fahrenheit, I think. But like I said, I mean, there's a link in the description already to this recipe. And, yeah, 350 Fahrenheit. The other thing that I've done quite a bit of prep already, but the other thing is you do need to grease your casserole dish, baking dish, whatever you're going to use. I'm using this little groover, which is I find really handy. It's a great little roasting dish, but it's also a really good casserole dish. And weirdly, this recipe, well, not weirdly that this recipe gave the measurements for the dish, but I, out of curiosity, measured it, and it's exactly right. It's an 18 by 23 casserole size. So, but I like it because it's deep and I don't know, rustic and stuff. So I've already greased that with some butter. You can also grease it if you use a cooking spray or olive oil. Anything like that is perfectly fine as well. But I'm going to get on with making, hello, Willie, you rocker you. I'm just going to get on with making some cauliflower rice. Now, you only need 275 grams of cauliflower. It's not a lot. I went through a phase of making curries and casseroles and doing the cauliflower rice as a side dish. And although I've found hundreds of great ways to do cauliflower rice, what I like about this recipe is this is actually going to go into the dish. It's not a side dish, and it's super easy to make. You just chop up your cauliflower fairly roughly. It doesn't have to be too precious. I'm just going to get the noise pollution part out of the way first. But yeah, I'd go ahead if you're doing this recipe and do the cauliflower rice first, because it does sort of just get chucked in with all the other veggies down the track, and it's just easier if it's already done. So just roughly chop up your cauliflower. And Glenn's not doing cauliflower rice, but he is going to put some cauliflower in the dish. So I'm using my little food processor, which is slightly bigger than Glenn's. If you don't have a food processor, chop it up by hand, as small as you can. I include stems. They've got nutritional value as well. But I'll just do this and get this noisy part of the show out of the way. And that's really all it takes. You just want to make it look like rice, essentially. You just chop it up. Now, this is going to be going into the casserole. So, like I said, if you don't have a food processor, you could just chop it up and have it in chunky bits like the mushrooms will be. But I think it's kind of cool for people who've got kids who don't like veggies. Something like this, the cauliflower rice throughout the whole casserole, not only does it actually add great flavour, but it's a great way to hide a vegetable in a dish. So I'll just do the rest of it. A lot of it's already pretty ricey already. But you don't have to be too precious about it because, like I said, it's going to go into the casserole. If you wanted to put little florets in, you could. You could put broccoli florets if you didn't have cauliflower. There we go. It's really just, like I said, it's just another way to sneak another veggie into a dish. And just pop it in a bowl and put it aside for later when we're adding all the veggies. How's everyone's days been? Anyone got any news, anything to report? What's been going on in your worlds? And I'm just going to give that a quick wipe down. So I'm going to chop up the chicken shortly on that. So that's it. That's the cauliflower rice. And, yeah, if you wanted to make a curry and do cauliflower rice with it as a side, just what we've just whizzed up, you can pretty much just blanch it in hot water. You can, I mean, some people boil it, but I used to just blanch it really quickly and just strain it, and that would be it. I quite like it still a little bit crunchy, but it's really up to you guys how you like it. And obviously, if you don't like it, don't use it. Simple as that. It sounds like Glenn might be returning. Okay. What am I going to get at? The chicken. Let's get the chicken out of the fridge.
Oh, okay. I've got my chicken ready. But...
You've got your chicken already?
Tori, how much cauliflower we got of rice?
It was 275 grams. Kathleen on Facebook, do you follow the keto diet strictly? I did, and I lost 9 kilos, and then I got a little bit ISO naughty, and I kind of went low carb keto, but I'm going back to full on keto again because I've still got another 8 or 9 kilos to lose. But yeah, I tried to do it quite strictly, but Easter I did get some chocolates. You know, there's been a few blowouts, but I'm really enjoying it, and I'm really keen to going back to doing it properly as well. But I also do, when I do it properly, I do the intermittent fasting. So I only do lunch and dinner. I don't do the breakfast. I just have a coffee with cream for breakfast usually. Will's got some lovely weather happening in Texas. That's good to hear, mate. So with the chicken breast, you need 650 grams. Now, these breasts are huge. Gone are the days when you buy 650 grams of chicken breast and you'd have like 6 tiny little ones. What they suggest you do is cut them diagonally before you fry them. It basically, 650 grams is 2.5 really big chicken breasts. I'm almost tempted. They are going to end up being cut into smaller pieces. Are you going to do yours in just the halves, Glenn, or are you going to do it? Hey, Mel.
That was confusing in the recipe. I find a lot of American recipes just have
Swedish. It's Swedish.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
I thought Dr. Diet was an American site.
No, it's Swedish. I'm just going to slice them virtually down the middle. They're just so bloody big. But because we're going to season them and pan fry them, and then down the track we are going to chop them up to go into the casserole. So I might stick to the actual recipe and do what they say. I mean, they also say stick a thermometer in it, but I'm not going to do that. But if the thing's going in the oven,
you need to be absolutely sure it's cooked.
It's gonna cook in the oven, right? So we're whacking our
It's a double dose of heat, so
Yeah, well, I think I might cook them as it says, and then I'll chop them up later. It might make it stay tender because chicken breasts can be a little bit can go a bit dry. Yeah, the thumbnail, Mel. It does look good, doesn't it? It does look really tasty. It is a lot of protein, Will. Well, here we go. We are doing some ricing over there.
Yeah, it's actually doing a good job for a bit of time.
Cool.
Okay. I've never done this before.
No, well, it's good. I'll let you do that while I just chat to the people in chat because as you can see on my board, I've just divvied up the breast. This recipe does feed 6 people, Will, so it's quite a lot of protein. It'd be a lot of protein if it was just for 2 people. But the benefit, one thing I have found with Diet Doctor is everything. I'm not a huge fan of food that's been frozen and then reheated. I don't have a microwave, but back in the olden days, I'd take freezer surprises out and cook them in the oven, and they never tasted as good. But I've found with Diet Doctor, everything I've had to freeze and then reheated later has been spot on, and I think it's because there's no carbs in it. I think it's carbs that make frozen food a bit yuck.
I think carbs in general are just not a thing that we should really be eating, and
No.
I'm a living example of that. My dad was a master baker, and this is what
clarified. Master baker could have sounded like something else. Hey, Maddie, over on Facebook, come over to YouTube's, Matt. Come to the YouTubes. The link's down in chat. That's the lovely Matt in Notting Hill who knows so much about food. I love chatting with him, and he was horrified at the lemon pepper conversation the other day. So I'm just heating up my pan at the moment for the chicken, but once Glenn's finished his cauliflower rice, we'll do the seasoning of the chickens. You've saved the recipe. Good work, Will. I mean, I haven't made anything off this website I haven't loved, and I love the $10 a month I pay because I've got access to so many amazing recipes. I've only made one thing I didn't like, which was sort of 50% egg, 50% butter, and it was disgusting. Some people eat that happily on a cracker, but I tried to eat it. It's just like, nah, no good. I'd rather just do some boiled eggs and put them on a keto-friendly cracker with some butter and eat it that way. But that was the only thing I've made that was yuck.
My partner's been following it pretty strictly, and he put butter in his coffee, which I was
I love butter coffees. Super coffees are great.
Oh, you've had them, have you?
Yeah, butter. And I mean, I had them before I went keto, the butter and coconut oil and espresso coffee, and you blend it up and it looks like a cafe latte. It's delicious. How you, yeah. How
I
you
think
going with
almond milk.
No, but you don't need milk because you get the milk out of the butter. How are you going with your collie? Are you still chopping it up?
Yeah, I've got to get, yeah, hopefully this will get me closer to.
Well, I might get on with, Glenn and I can kind of, I'm just going to do the seasonings for the chicken breasts.
Oh, okay. And I think that was onion powder and garlic powder, wasn't it?
Yes.
Ooh, I think
Why is it saying to only use half of stuff? Let me have a look here. Half of the garlic powder. Well, that was a teaspoon of garlic powder, and I've only got a teaspoon left in my little jar. So whenever it calls for the rest of the garlic, I've actually got a little clove ready to crush. So you're basically just seasoning. Oh, and I'll wait for Glenn so we can season in sync.
No, I'm good. We cauliflower rice, and I've got another one to put in the fridge. I don't know how much 275 grams is going to be, and I just figured that was a half a cauliflower for it. Just buy the two.
Yeah.
You don't want to be running out.
It all just goes soft into your casserole anyway. So have you got your chooks there?
Yes, I do. Right in front of me.
All right. So we've sliced up our chicken. We're going to season it. I'm just going to pop 2 tablespoons of oil into my pan. Now you could use a frying pan. I'm just guesstimating. If you want to measure out 2 tablespoons, go for it. Keto, they don't mind. They love you using a lot of oil and butter, so it's not something you do have to measure out to the last millimetre. Just guesstimate's fine. So I've got my little chicken breasts here ready to go. I don't know what Glenn's. You're getting your chicken breasts out too? Oh, here we go.
Oh, unattractive presentation.
A little chicken sanitary pad.
I know, they have to put them in there for the fact that they're probably frozen before they actually
This just sort of soak up the chicken jizz, aren't they?
Yeah, I know, but the reason there's so much chicken jizz is probably because they've been frozen at one point.
Probably.
Stay fresh.
I got mine from the butcher, and I got mine from my butcher. And I was like,
you slice them into like little. Yep, cool.
Yeah, I just sort of, because they're so big. But my butcher, the chicken breasts are normally a bit smaller. But he said,
from?
Oh, from my little ethical chicken farm down the road. But I was like, dude, these look like they've got big fat hormones in them.
Yeah.
And he swears me that they don't. You know, they always sort of say it's hormone free and all the rest of it. But yeah, it looks like they've been doing a bit of a workout. But then everything in Tassie's a little bit chubby, you know. So
right, what am I doing with chicken breast? I'm putting.
We're going to put a teaspoon of garlic powder.
Yep.
Someone's calling me. So just sprinkle your garlic powder. There's a teaspoon of that. I think that was long enough for that person. I might as well just use up what's in my little jar. I need to put garlic powder on.
Full jar. I don't use it that often. I normally use.
I never used it till I started this website. I've never used garlic powder or onion powder, and I've got to say, like, the flavor's amazing. It does. You really can tell the difference. We also need a teaspoon of onion powder.
Yep. So it's a teaspoon of this.
Oh no, I think it's only saying half again. So I think it says that. Well, it says a half of the garlic powder, the onion powder, salt and pepper. So Oh no, let's just do the teaspoon of onion powder. I think maybe there's a bit of garlic powder or something going in later as well.
I'm not going to be real strict with it, but
no, I have actually
I've been doing enough cooking in my lifetime to know what a teaspoon
is. Yeah. I like using my little measuring spoons though. They're one of my favourite things because a lot of measuring spoons are round, but these ones are brilliant. If anyone's in the market for measuring spoons, always go for this shape because then they go straight into your little spice things and everything.
Yeah, I can only get the half teaspoon in mine.
Yeah, whereas that teaspoon just went straight into this little jar.
Very handy indeed.
So yeah, they are very handy indeed. And we're also going to put salt and pepper. Now again, it's just put what you want. The keto folk
on it.
Yep, keto folk love salt, and so do I. So I'm always happy to do that.
My doctor would probably tell me
differently.
Differently, yeah.
The thing is, I mean, it does depend on stuff like if you do need sodium for brain health, and if your body doesn't retain sodium, if you're a person who craves salt like I do, it's because your body's not actually retaining it. So if you want salt in food, put it in because a very low sodium level can lead to all sorts of terrible problems. So yeah, now we're going to chuck this into the pan and lightly brown it.
Now what are we doing? Olive oil in that?
Yeah, I just heated up a couple of tablespoons of olive oil.
Yep.
And yeah, we're just going to lightly brown it because again, I mean, this is going to go into the oven and cook in a casserole pot.
Yep.
My feeling is that they are suggesting you don't cook it in little pieces to try and stop it from drying out.
I hope the sound hasn't gone weird because I've just had to turn my fan on.
That's all right. That's all part of the
distracting.
It's real TV, mate. I'm just putting the last little bits of seasoning there in as well. And with your seasoned chicken breasts, put the seasoning down first before you turn your chook over. Let it sink in. But we only need to lightly brown this. I'm actually going to add a little bit more oil because it's kind of, that's better. Now the recipe does say to stick a thermometer in the chicken, and I'm not doing that. I'm just guesstimating. I'm just going to let it cook till I think it's almost cooked and then take it away and leave it till later because it will finish cooking in the thing. Are you going to stick a thermometer in yours, Glenn?
I'd like to stick something in it, but it won't be a thermometer.
I honestly don't think I've even got a meat thermometer.
I can't imagine why. I mean, look, I know I have seen on Facebook some people that have put up, like they think they are Jamie Oliver or whatever, and they say, look at this wonderful chicken dish, and I've got my, my rare chicken, thinking it's a piece of steak, and I'm almost gagging on it, watching and looking at the chicken that they cut in half, and it's still raw. You can still see it's pink and raw in the centre. Now, if it was a piece of steak, beautiful. But a piece of chicken, it horrifies me that there are so many people out there that really just don't understand the process of cooking.
No, and the thing is, I mean, these pieces, we're basically just browning the edges because they are going to the chicken is going to all get chopped up into smaller casserole type pieces. And if there is still a bit of pink meat, once it's in the big casserole pot, I mean, it's going to be cooking in a 180-degree oven for a while, so that'll finish it off. So it's really just, at the moment, we're really just sort of searing in the flavour.
I think for me, the whole process of that browning, whether it's beef or whatever, before you put it into casserole, is developing a caramelized crust or flavour before you put it into the casserole, so it oozes out into it. So I think, essentially, you could double the cooking time, put raw chicken in, everything raw, and just put a lid on it and cook it. If you want.
It does add the flavour, and especially with these beautiful seasonings on it too, like it's sealing it all in. So when we eat casserole, we'll get these yummy mouthfuls of chicken with lots of flavour. Hey, lovable Rogue, welcome. Good to see you, gorgeous.
What cooktop have you got there, Tori? Is that an electric one?
No, this is a Le Creuset pot, this one. And
no, the cooktop.
Oh, the cooktop, sorry. I'm standing near
Is that an induction or just a...
No, it's just a standard electric.
Oh, okay. Yeah, look, I've got some very fiery gas happening, which is the thing in New South Wales. It's like there's not many places you go to rent or whatever that doesn't have a gas cooktop, which I love. I actually really love.
I love cooking with gas too, but this house was already 3/4 built when I decided to buy it, and the builder had already put the oven in. So I bought a really cool gas barbecue so I can cook with gas, and I do cook out on the barbie a lot. And down the track, I mean, this oven will probably go for years, but down the track, if and when it does cark it, I'll put a gas one in. But I really love it. I have no issues with it. It's a ripper. It's just a standard chef oven. It costs about $1,000. Can't fault it, really.
Nothing wrong with the chef oven. My parents had chef ovens for a number of places they lived in.
Yep, they go, and they last forever.
That's what you want.
So just finishing up the browning of the chicken. How's your chicken looking? Good looking?
Well, as I say, because I've got gas, it's cooked. So
take it off.
Yeah, I put it on the wok burner actually.
Right.
Because it's a big pan, it just means the fire is all around the base. Some of the smaller ones, you get a hot point in the middle of the fry pan, which is great if you've only got an egg or one steak or whatever. But if you've got multiple pieces of meat or whatever, I always use.
So have you taken the chicken? What I want to interrupt you is have you taken the chicken off and set it aside?
I'm about to. I just turned it over, but it will be about another minute and that'll be done.
Yeah, well, mine's almost. I'm almost happy to take mine out. Like I said, I'm quite happy when we cut them up into smaller pieces. If there's a bit of pink inside, it's going to keep it nice and tender, and then it'll all get cooked up in the casserole anyway.
Yeah, look, I reckon if it's got a nice colour on both sides, it's probably enough.
Colour's looking pretty nice, and it's only meant to be lightly brown, by the way. You don't have to char grill it.
Yeah, I love that cooking pan too. That's beautiful.
You love
your cooking pot.
Isn't it superb? I mean,
or whatever it is. I love those.
This particular one's lovely.
Yeah, it's nice to cook with. I enjoy that enamelled.
Yeah, it is. It's lovely, and I love how everything sort of gets caramelised in the base, and then it all comes back off. It's delicious.
Yeah.
So when our chicken is lightly brown, we take it out. And we're going to set it aside. Till later. Let's give that one last piece a little bit in the middle. And that's all you've got to do. I'm doing great. Yeah. Thank you, lovable Rogie. I hope you're well too. And I'll just check what's going on in Facebook. Synchronized seasoning. This could be a new Olympic sport. I agree, Jane, over in Facebook land. Feel free, like I always say, feel free to jump on over to YouTube if you would like to join us over there, but I will pop back and forwards a bit. So I'm just taking the the pan off the heat at the moment. We are going to be cooking our veggies and stuff in that. But just showing you groovers. So there's your lightly browned chicken. Looking delicious. Sweet dreams. Have a good sleep, Will the Rocker. Thanks for hanging out with us. But, yeah, so there's the lightly browned chicken, and you just pop it in a bowl and set that aside. I'll look at him reminding everyone to hit the likes. He's such a good mod. Such a good mod. Now my phone's locked itself, so I'm just going back to the recipe now. So then we're going to just add a little bit more. Actually, first I might prep up the veggies. I'll just flick that element off for the moment. That pan will hold the heat for a while. All right, Glenn, it's veggie time. Have you got your mushrooms?
Now, do you wash your mushrooms?
No, I don't. We're using 150 grams. Hey, Lady Pegasus, welcome, darling. We need 150 grams of mushrooms. I actually just clean them by hand. I don't like adding water to mushrooms. They've already got a lot of water in them. Yeah. But if there's any little bits, I've already done it, but if there's any little bits of fertilizer still in them, I just remove them with my hand. Some people might do it with a paper towel. But you need 150 grams of mushies. That's what 150 grams looks like. And you can use whatever mushrooms you want. I've just gone for your little buttons. I do love Swiss browns, but I'm going with these today. And we just need to slice them up. And I cook with the stems of mushrooms as well. There's a lot of people for some reason that take them out and don't eat them. They're delicious. I don't know why you wouldn't include them. So there's our mushies nicely sliced. How are you going on your mushrooms?
I'm just starting on them now.
Nice.
So the chook is well and truly coloured. Lovely colouring on some, and
nice.
Some others not quite, but anyway, that'll still get the flavour happening.
Absolutely, and it did say lightly browned. I mean, when it says, although it had the thermometer thing, it's like I'm not going to bother doing that. Lady Pegasus is good. Her tennis group. Oh, yeah, tennis was allowed to start back, but still 2 hours better than nothing, right? And then a bit of social distancing off court. How lovely to be back on the tennis court. It's cool. So cool. Now, if anyone does want to cook the chicken and lightly brown it and check the temperature, you want the internal temperature to either be 165 degrees Fahrenheit or 74 degrees Celsius. Now, I know with Diet Doctor, they do have a huge American following, and I think a lot of the time they include things like thermometers and stuff and checking temperatures just so they don't get sued.
Yeah, I think that's probably why.
Yeah. But if anyone does want to test the temperature of their chook, that's the temperature you should be looking at, 165 Fahrenheit or 74 degrees Celsius. Just waiting for Glenn to cut up his mushrooms. In addition to the mushrooms, we are also going to be doing spinach. Now I've gone for, baby spinach. You need 50 grams of spinach, but you can use any spinach. You've got the baby as well. Nice. I just like it. It's just easy just to chuck it straight in. I think
I really had a choice. That's all I had. But good.
Yeah, it's just easy. You just chuck it straight in. It cooks in a second. we're just going to be sauteing the mushrooms and the spinach. I'm just going to pop this pot back on the element and crank it up again. And obviously you've got all the beautiful seasoning and bits and pieces left over from the chicken as well. So
I have to say that cheesecake is smelling very nice.
Oh, good lad.
I was a bit
longer does it have to cook
about
for?
the whole thing, but you know, I'm pretty new to this keto cooking.
It's fun though. I love it because it's got so much flavors.
I know, and I think, look, honestly, that's the thing that's really remiss in the amount of diets that I've tried over the years, is that it just gets so bland and boring.
Yeah, exactly. That's what people quit.
And butter is a bonus for me.
Yeah, and the flavors are so good.
Mm.
So I'm just putting another tablespoon of oil. So you use 3 tablespoons of olive oil in this recipe. So they get you to use the first 2 with the chicken. Then you're going to add the 3rd tablespoon to your pan. That's going to deglaze some of that beautiful caramelization and stuff in the bottom of the pan with all the seasonings from the chicken. And we're basically going to pan fry over a medium heat the mushrooms, the spinach, and the remaining garlic powder. So you're sliced and good to go. Beautifully demonstrated.
Yeah, I was a hand actor in the previous slide.
So just checking my pot's getting nice and warm again because I did take it off the. It does hold the heat really well, this one, for a little while.
Tori, what are we doing? The sliced mushrooms, a little bit more oil, and the rest of the garlic powder?
That's right, the remaining teaspoon of the garlic powder, and then right at the end, we'll just chuck the baby spinach in and give that a bit of a whiz as well.
Okay. It does say 50 grams. 50 grams seems a very small amount, I suppose.
Yeah, this is 50 grams, so it's not a huge amount. It's basically a good handful.
Okay.
They don't go crazy with veggie rations either. You know, the protein and the cheese and everything is always sort of the main thing. So whack your mushrooms in. Now, I didn't have 2 teaspoons of garlic powder, so I'm going to add a clove of garlic that I'm just going to crush.
Oh, you devil.
You
Out of
devil.
the box.
Huh?
You devil, thinking out the box.
Absolutely. Necessity is the mother of invention, right?
I know. Sometimes, like, I don't have corn. I don't have arrowroot powder, so my go-to would be a bit of corn flour. Now,
Well, that is the perfect substitute for it, Glenn, is to use corn flour. I mean, it's obviously in the keto world, corn flour does have carbs in it, but not a lot, and you're not using much. But I actually managed to find some what they call arrowroot powder is actually arrowroot flour, and I managed to find some. So just give your mushrooms a bit of a fry.
Yeah,
your mushrooms
on shelves, but not. Unfortunately, my IGA didn't have that. So.
I couldn't believe that mine did, because mine's an IGA as well, but.
No.
I do find random things in there. So I don't like overcooked mushrooms. I like to just give them a bit of a quick saute with the crushed clove of garlic or a teaspoon of garlic powder. I've noticed they don't use a lot of fresh garlic in their recipes, and I'm thinking maybe it's just not that readily accessible in Sweden. I don't know.
I'm just going to put a bit of pepper on mine.
You've got to put salt and pepper, man. Well, it's up to you. Yep. Oh. Everything gets seasoned. And I'm just going to chuck that 50 grams of spinach in as well. More salt. More pepper.
Excellent.
And then give that a good little mix. But with all veggies, I err on the side of undercooked rather than overcooked. The spinach is going to continue cooking in the casserole as well. So are the mushrooms. So, whoops. I don't Don't cook it till it's completely cooked and shriveled and small. Just give it a good little toss around in the pot. And then we're going to take that out and set that aside as well. Let's grab in another bowl. Smells amazing. Take the Now, you could, if you wanted to make this a completely one-pot dish, you could actually, if you're cooking in something like this instead of a frying pan, you could actually cook the casserole in this dish, but this dish is quite large and it'll end up really thin, which is why I've chosen to go for a deeper one so everything gets really sort of cheesy and lush and all mixed together. So just showing you guys how it is. The spinach is still, it hasn't completely shriveled. The mushrooms have had a nice little turn in the oil and everything, but they're not too cray-cray. Lady Pegasus, this is the lovely Glenn who's cooking with me tonight.
Hello.
Hello. And Lady Pegasus says, mushrooms, one of my favourite foods, especially cooked in real butter with sea salt and crack. Absolutely. Absolutely. So we're just going to set that aside. I'll see how you doing with your mushies and everything.
Sorry, I've been a bit renegade. I didn't measure my spinach, but
well, just a big fat handful's enough. Whatever you put in is fine.
Yeah, that's what I thought too.
I mean, I measure with my hands all the time, but I'm being quite good doing this channel to try and measure things and give people an idea, because not everyone can guesstimate a tablespoon or a cup or whatever. But, you don't have to be super precise with any type of cooking. It's baking, you've got to be precise.
Yeah, that's what I've got.
Hey, Serenity Bee. And Lovable Rogue says, hi, Glenn.
Hello.
Look at your mushies are looking good there, Glenn.
They look pretty fine, don't they? And that spinach is wilted almost immediately. So, all right.
Yeah. So take that out of your pot so it doesn't keep cooking if you want, if it's all good to go.
Nah, should be right.
Should be right. So now we're going to bring back the chicken and we're going to get a large bowl, because everything's going to end up in this bowl getting mixed together. So have you got a nice big bowl to put all this stuff in, Glenn?
Oh, yes. Is that big enough?
That's, yeah. I mean, I've gone for a large one too for dramatic effect, but I think we could both have gone for smaller.
Yeah.
But
Well,
we're now going to, now that the chicken's cooled down, we're just going to cut it into bite-sized pieces and pop it in our bowl.
I'm not averse to dramatic effect.
Neither am I. And that's how we know each other, is from our theatrical inclinations.
Yes.
Many minutes
ago. But, sometimes those memories strike back and they feel like only yesterday.
I know, it's crazy, isn't it? It's crazy. But considering we met in the, either the very late 70s or early 80s.
Early 80s.
When you talk,
I think I spent more face-to-face class time at your all-girls school than I did at my all-boys school.
Yeah. Well, we had the...
those kind of subjects were not part of the curriculum.
No, but I must admit I spent quite a bit of time at your boys' school doing subjects that weren't part of the girls' school curriculum.
There you go.
Like geology, because that's come in handy in my later life.
We had a lot of girls come to our school to do science subjects, which just weren't part of wherever they came from.
Well, I had absolutely no interest in geology at all. I just had interest in Hutchins boys.
Yes,
so my chicken is still a little bit pink in the middle, but don't panic, guys. It's fine because it's going to be going into a hot oven in a casserole pot and it will get fully cooked through. But one thing I'm loving, even just cutting this up, is how tender it is. Is yours the same, Glenn?
It's almost fall apart, actually.
Yeah, it's cool, hey? The other thing I do love about Diet Doctor is I love recipes that you learn new sort of processes and stuff. There's so many things that they do that are different to how we would do them, and it's really cool. I'm really enjoying some of the things that they do. It keeps it fun. You're not doing everything the same way every day.
Yeah, you can get into a rut with cooking. You go to your happy go-to place.
Yeah.
And it's always great to be able to try new recipes, that's for sure.
I quite like doing this cooking with the thing on my bench top because you can't see the absolute chaos that's going on behind me on my island. There's just shit everywhere, including my KitchenAid, the works.
Hey, so, I'm in front of all the chaos, so you can't see anything really.
So I've got all the chicken cut up into bite-sized pieces. Oh, yeah, good luck with your job hunting, Serenity B. Don't stress out. It will all come together. It will all come together. So I've just cooked, chopped up the chicken into bite-sized pieces, and Glenn just added the chicken juice.
The chicken jizz.
The chicken jizz, which I will also add because it's beautiful flavour. That you don't want to
throw that away. That's like stock.
Absolutely. And then we're going to add that cauliflower rice we made earlier.
Yep.
So that's going to go. There's the cauliflower rice for those of you who missed it. The link to this recipe is under this video, so you don't need to worry about measurements and stuff. You can have a look there later. And then we're also going to put the mushroom and spinach mixture that goes in the bowl as well.
Spinach in, yeah.
And then we want to put the mozzarella cheese, a third of it, because we're going to put the rest of it on the top at the end. So they say to put
250 grams.
Yeah, 250 grams of. So let's go for 75-ish.
Just a little bit to kind of get it together.
Yeah. Now you can. I do normally buy mozzarella in mozzarella balls, and I would grate it myself, but I am cheating. I've bought a bag of already shredded mozzarella. Now with the.
Yeah, sorry. Don't be rude.
It's all right. For this kind of
brand there. Oh no, you've got perfect. I've got this brand called Real that I've never seen before.
Well,
it says it's natural.
Look, I'm sure it's delicious. Mozzarella's great. The only reason the keto crew are against shredded cheese is because they do put some starch in it to keep it long life, because this stuff, this packet isn't going to expire till the 7th of September. But I just find for cooking on this channel, it's just so much easier. I'd say let's just go a handful of mozzarella into the bowl.
Yeah, save me bringing the scales out again. That sounds
a big handful.
This is 500 grams, so if I use half the packet, then we're on target.
Exactly. That's a good way to look at it. And we're just going to mix this all up together.
Okay.
Now, this recipe does have a heap of processes and to go through, which is why I love it, because I like doing lots of things. Some people don't, but honestly, it's worth the effort. And if you go live on YouTube and cook with someone else, time flies while you're having fun.
Yeah, look, we've used the same fry pan, so, there's only a bowl, the fry pan, and the casserole dish. That's not overly... I mean, I know a lot of people like one pan dinners.
Well, look, I do a lot of one pan cooking, but for a good casserole, I'm looking at my chicken and regretting not cutting it a bit smaller. Mine's sort of like very large bite-sized pieces, but
mine's a bit mixed up. I've got big bits and small bits, because I did have a few very thin, small pieces which fell apart pretty easily.
Well, look, it's all going to go in a pot and all cooked together anyway, so that gets mixed
partner
together.
loves protein, so I've got to make sure that he can actually see this chicken.
Hi, Ruth. Welcome. Good to have you here, gorgeous. And Serenity, I'm looking for a job too. So I'm glad the cooking is taking your mind off things, and tomorrow is a new day. So fingers crossed, gorgeous. So we're going to, once we've mixed that up, we're going to set that aside. But now we need to make the sauce.
Oh, right, yes.
So first up, you need to get a small bowl.
Small bowl.
Like, just your normal dessert bowl or soup bowl kind of thing.
Sorry. Sorry if I make noise here.
People who love my channel, people who watch me cooking know how much I love mini whisks. So I'm about to use my mini whisk, my mini whisk. And this is where I'm going with the arrowroot flour, and Glenn is going to use corn flour.
Yes. Because I would have got it if I could find it. But...
Well, I did find this.
Ooh, look at you go.
It cost a fucking fortune. So...
Really? Arrowroot's really expensive?
Well, this was...
cheap. But...
Weirdly, this bag is 453 grams, so that in itself is quirky, but I think I paid about $10 for this, but I'm going to get a lot of use out of it. You don't use a lot of it, and it's one of those things that pops up in recipes quite a bit, or if I decide to cook an old-fashioned recipe that requires corn flour, I've now got the perfect substitute, which is the arrowroot. So I decided it was...
When I find some, I will get it, because I think it's a handy thing to have in the pantry.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm just not sure whether the arrowroot and corn flour is going to work in the same ratio, but anyway,
it is, because I Googled it. Earlier.
Excellent.
Yeah, so it's, because, I had a look for what's a substitute for arrowroot, and they were saying cornstarch, which is what we call corn flour.
Yes.
But someone said, could I use coconut flour? And they're like, no, because you never use the same ratios with coconut flour with anything. So they were saying, so it's match for match, and we just need 2 teaspoons. So you need 2 teaspoons of your corn flour, and I need 2 teaspoons of my arrowroot. Oh, it's a very, I think this bowl's probably a bit large. We probably could have used smaller bowls, but anyway.
It's for dramatic effect.
Now, do you have your chicken stock ready to go? Your chicken broth?
I have my chicken stock in a Tetra box, yes.
Yep, that's perfect. This is
I'm not using homemade, but you could do that.
Mine is homemade. I did a roast chicken for Easter Sunday, which was a very opulent feast, and I did make chicken stock with the carcass, and then I froze it in 1 cup size containers. So this recipe does call for only 225 mils, but I've actually got a cup that I tip the cup thing into this little jug and it's defrosted overnight.
225 mil?
225, but don't put the whole lot in. We're only putting a little splash of it because we're making, when you've got to make the corn flour paste.
Yep. Okay.
So just a splash.
So this is actually to go into a bigger. It doesn't matter.
What's that?
You're right. We could have used smaller bowls.
Oh, you've got a huge. I've only got a little super, which is working out fine, but.
No, I got my smaller
mixing. You have.
Oh, because I thought we were putting it all together.
Yeah, no, this is just for the sauce. So.
So I'll measure out 250 mil, which is the total amount, and we'll go.
Yeah, so from your 225 mils, you just need a little splash, and then you make your little paste.
225. Okay, I've got it.
And then we've got to get our frying pan back and heat it up again.
Yeah, now that's kind of strange with casseroles because you just kind of like my mum's old world school would be cover the meat, whatever it is, in flour, mix it, and chuck it in the fry pan, chuck it in the casserole dish, add your veggies, your liquid, and put a lid on it and let it do its thing.
That's right. That's how the sauce would thicken. But this is another way. And one thing I'm loving about it is we're going to be cooking the rest of the chicken stock in our frying pans when they're heated up. So it's going to lift all of that beautiful. I mean, it looks burnt, but that glaze or the what do you call that bit at the end? The caramelization, whatever. That's all going to lift off and add to the flavor of it, which is pretty lush.
Yeah, anything that's stuck to the bottom of your pan has been caramelized.
Yeah.
Whatever the juices are, and you want them back in the pot, in the main pot.
Just while your frying pan's heating up, grab a whisk because we are actually going to whisk this sauce. And the other thing is, we're not going to bring it to a boil, but we do need to bring it to a simmer. So make sure with the heat that you don't have it too hot. So like a medium high heat.
I've had to go hardcore industrial because every whisk that I have bought, I have mangled or broken.
Yeah, these ones I mangle all the time.
There's one that I thought might actually survive anything I can.
Well, these ones I've mangled hundreds of, and the baby versions as well. But this one I've had for a long time. It's solid as a rock.
Yeah, look, I think I had one of those. I mangled it. I don't know what I was doing with it.
All right, so when your frying pan's hot,
yep.
Pop the rest of the chicken stock into your pan.
Yep.
Mine's still heating up at the moment. Yours will be hot already because you're cooking with gas. The thing with Le Creuset is anyone that uses Le Creuset pots, do not ever put them on a super high heat. You can actually completely fuck them up by doing that. A medium heat is the highest that you ever want to use for a Le Creuset because the pots themselves, being enamel, they absorb so much of the heat that the pot is also doing a lot of the cooking, whereas if you're using a wok or a saucepan, they don't have the same kind of heat thing going on. So, yeah, with Le Creuset, if you're going medium-high on your element, no more than medium. And for most cooking with it, I start on about like halfway between low to medium. And then if I need to crank it up, I will. But that's just a little handy tip if you've got a Le Creuset. Don't fuck it with too much heat. So, but while that's heating up, I'm just going to scrape a bit of the glaze off. Add your little paste if you want to, Glenn.
Sorry,
you can add your little paste, and we need to get some whipping cream happening as well.
Oh, right. Yes, cream.
So get your yummy cream.
Well, I've got thickened cream, but it says for whipping.
That's what they call thickened cream is what we call.
Yeah,
what we
because
call thickened is what they call whipping.
you can get like that, thick dollop stuff, which I suppose you could use it.
Well, you could. I mean, it's going to go on heat, so it's ultimately going to get sort of melty anyway. We need 125 mils.
How many?
125.
125. Well, after my
half a cup
cake crusade, I'm hoping I've got 125 left. Oh, maybe not quite, but that's okay. I have an emergency stash.
Necessity's the mother of invention. I'm just making sure I'm getting all this yummy caramelization off the bottom of my pan because I want this to go into the casserole. But when you're eating your casserole, if you do add caramelization, don't freak out and think you've burnt it. You're like, oh, there's some yummy goodness. So, yeah, 125 mils is essentially half a cup. So you're going to add that as well.
Yeah.
And I always use a spatula and get every bit of cream out of my jug.
Yeah. So what are you putting the cream in first, or it doesn't matter?
No, I put the rest of the stock in first, then the little paste, and now I'm adding the cream. But I really don't think it would make a huge difference.
The thickener. If you put the thickener in?
The thickened cream, yeah. Did you say?
Have you put your arrowroot in yet?
I have, yes. Yep. So I put the rest of the stock, then the paste, and now the cream, and now I'm just mixing it all together, and it's all yummy, and it's really yummy. But we do want to get it to that point where it's simmering but not boiling. And in fact, that's what should be using my little whisk. Just here, I've cleaned some of this stuff up. Hi, Biscuit. Whoopsie-daisy. So, yeah, use a whisk. When it gets to the simmer, it is going to start to thicken. And in true keto fashion, more salt and more pepper. This is why keto is so tasty, though. The reason the bag is 454 grams is because it was measured in ounces. There you go, Ruth. Thank you. Now, Glenn, have you added some more salt and pepper and also some thyme? Do you have any fresh thyme?
I don't have fresh. I've only got dried.
I've got packets too. I've got dried. There was actually thyme at my local shop, but it was so soggy and gross and old. I don't mind paying. I mean, I grow quite a few herbs myself, and I don't mind paying more for fresh herbs because I love them so much. But at the end of the day, because of this whole self-isolation thing, if I've been cooking something, I'm not going to the supermarket, or not the supermarket, the IGA, just to grab fresh thyme. But, yeah, it was pretty munted. Now, the amount that they say to use, I reckon, would be, let me have a look, 2 teaspoons of thyme. So I'm not going to do 2 teaspoons. I'm just doing maybe it might end up being 2 teaspoons actually. But the dried herbs are fine as long as you're using them within a couple of months of buying them. I mean, you can still use them after a couple of months, but they start to lose their flavour. But I don't have a problem with the dried. The self-iso thing has taught me not to be a snob about fresh and dried herbs.
I can't imagine thyme adding calories to a dish, so
Oh, it doesn't add calories at all.
No,
But the
I'm just kind of like citing it and going, yeah, I reckon that'll be a good amount considering it's dried. But, some herbs when they're dried add a more potent flavour, and when they're fresh, they add a more potent flavour. I don't know what dried thyme is in that category.
I find thymes are pretty much match to match, but it's tarragon. Tarragon's the one that's a nightmare. Fresh versus dried. Always use the same amount of dried because tarragon's such a strong herb anyway. But dried tarragon, don't go nuts with it. Use a small amount.
Well, there's the sauce.
Is it all nice and thickened and delicious looking?
Very thick. That's okay.
I haven't got mine on the simmer yet, so I'm still whisking mine. I just cranked the element up a little bit.
I don't think it needs any more heat. Mine. It's done its thing.
Now, in the absence of fresh thyme, I did buy fresh parsley that I will put on top because I love fresh herbs as a garnish on anything that I cook. So I'm just in a simmer now. I'm just going to see if this can thicken up a bit. The cornstarch looks like it's done a great job. Let's see how
it's pretty powerful job the cornflour does.
I don't think my paste was a bit watery. That could be a problem. I don't know. We'll see. I went for a bit more than a splash.
Well, I'm really interested in how that pepper does its thing. Okay, so that's what you're going to put it in the oven with a lid?
I am, because I don't want to use foil. If this didn't have a lid, then I would put foil over it. But because it has a lid, I'm saving the aluminium tray.
Yeah.
What about you? What are you going to bake yours in?
I've got a number of choices. Some with lids, some without. I'm thinking.
I'm wondering if I should use foil, but and then there's a tighter seal closer to the surface. Like this is quite a high lid. And so there's, I roast chickens and stuff in this little fucker.
Right.
Maybe I should put
the one I've got is about maybe 2 litre and a bit. Needed it.
What was that?
The one that I've got has a lid. I think is probably a bit too small.
Right.
But I'm thinking, I don't know. I think that's probably a bit too small. What do you reckon? I've got the rectangle.
It says roughly 23. What was it that I said at the start? I think it's 23 centimetres by 18. And out of curiosity, I measured mine, and this is spot on. I was like, okay, that's interesting. I had no idea.
Well, this would be like 20 by 20. So a 20 by, I reckon the
that one, the one that you just
is the way to go.
Yeah. I'm just not sure whether I'm going to use the lid. Now, I'm just making a bit more arrowroot
That's doing its thing.
Just with a little bit of water to see if this will thicken up a bit more, because I want it thicker, but it's certainly not thickening the way cornflour does. But let's see. Oh, yeah, it's instant. It's thickening.
This gorgeous thing has done its thing immediately. That looks like a really nice sauce.
Yeah, this is thickened a little bit, but not much. But that's all right.
And I can smell the thyme. The thyme smells gorgeous.
The thyme does smell amazing. And thyme as a plant, like when you grow it naturally, I often don't use it. I don't think about using it super fresh. It's when it's starting to get a little bit drier and I can smell it in the garden. I'm like, I better pick some thyme and cook with it. Like it's a bit like rosemary. It's sort of when it gets a little bit woody is when it's the yummiest. That makes sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, so I don't think this is going to thicken much more. Hate to say it. You can add your beautiful thick sauce to your bowl with everything else and give it a good mixing.
Okay, good. All right. Yes.
Ruth is dehydrating herbs because they store so well, but don't do dehydrated bananas. She said that the reason why is they're too easy to eat. You'll eat them all.
My niece did a platter for us at Christmas time, and she had banana chips, and I thought I'd give them a try, but they weren't a fan of the family. Not a lot of people really they look great on the platter, but
they do look great on the platter.
Mm.
I don't know if my sauce is going to thicken much more, so I think I might just bite the bullet and mix it into the chicken mix, and hopefully with the cheese and everything. I mean, I don't mind if it's a bit runny, but yeah, I don't think it's going to thicken much more than that. So fogged up the glasses and give that a good thorough. Gosh, it smells amazing.
It does. It smells really great. And I hate cauliflower. I'm really not a fan of it. So I'm happy to organise something that kind of
you've hidden it.
holds it all together.
It's hidden, Glenn. So, and it does. Honestly, I do another chicken casserole from Diet Doctor that's got cauliflower through it, and it makes the flavors so different and delicious. Like, it's not like the big steaming pile of overcooked cauliflower our mothers and grandmothers cooked for us.
Yeah, and they always cooked it to a pulp.
Now, have you greased your baking tin, your casserole? Is it greased?
Do I need to grease it?
Yes.
Okay.
Just a bit of butter or a bit of oil.
Use canola spray or olive oil or what?
Anything you want.
Sorry?
Anything you want. You can use oil, butter, whatever. Hi, Anita over on Facebook, and Biscuit says hello to you. She says she can smell the deliciousness from Brisbane.
Gosh. It's a long way. Well,
she's probably smelling yours. Yours is closer to Brisbane than mine, but that was a good compliment though.
Yeah, well, the summer may very well.
Ruth, hang on a second. Ruth is saying that sun-dried whole bananas are the best. They're sticky and caramelized, and they keep so much better than fresh bananas. And Lady Pegasus, her coffee shops and restaurants are open now. 10 people at a time. Yeah, they're doing. We're a bit behind. We're opening up the 10 people at a time, maybe already. But I'm happy for them to wait a little while. Doesn't bother me. So, is your thing greased?
Yes.
All right. Pour in your big bowl of deliciousness.
Okay, here we go.
Oh God, that smells good. And spread it all out in the base of your dish. I'm thinking I might use the alfoil just because it's closer to the dish and it might be a tighter seal. The lid might give it a bit too much steaming space.
That sounds like a good idea. Not that I had a choice, but
well, I was thinking about saving the alfoil tree, but I might do it.
Hey, it saves the washing up, doesn't it?
Well, it does, but also it's sometimes good to do what they suggest, and then if you do it and you sort of think, oh, it wouldn't have been any different with the lid on, then next time do it with the lid on. Like sometimes I like to stick to the recipe.
Yeah, first time around, it's always best to follow it, and you can make
best part, the rest of the cheese. So we're now putting about, 150 grams worth of mozzarella on top.
250 minus your handful.
Look, with keto, you can't go wrong with cheese. That's all. It's all about the cheese. Every kind of cheese.
Yeah.
Which I love. I love that you can eat cheese. I mean, every other diet I've ever done, don't you dare eat cheese. It's like, what?
That's it. I'm gone. See you later. Low
Yeah,
fat cheese, forget it. I might as well be eating cardboard.
you do it for a while, and then the lack of flavour is what makes people jump off diets. Whereas this diet, I just want to try everything and cook all of their stuff. All right, and then I'm going to be a stickler to the recipe and put foil on top, and then I want to get this little fucker in the oven. Now you're going to bake it in the oven for 10 minutes with the foil on it, and then we're going to take it out of the oven and remove the foil so that the cheese can all get brown and yummy.
How long is the second cook for?
Sorry, we're going to cook it for 20 minutes total. So 10 minutes with the foil on and then 10 with the foil off.
Oh, actually not a long time, is it? Well, it shouldn't be really, because everything's nearly cooked.
Well, it's kind of till it's brown. So, you know, if you I love it brown, so it might take a little bit longer. But I'm whacking mine in the oven now.
What's happening, Tori?
Did you not set your oven at the start?
Well, I have, but it's got a cheesecake in
Oh,
there.
that's right. So 180.
Ooh, right. Okay, I'm going to need to up the ante a bit.
That's all right. You don't need to because, we'll see.
Well, I will do because the cheesecake's might have to wait a little bit for mine's
But that's basically it until we God, I've got so much stuff happening on my bench. That's pretty much it. It's easy. Well, I mean, it was fun. And the thing is, what is it? It's 10 to 7. So this is a dinner that you would have on the table by 7:30. We started at 5:30. We've been chatting and mucking around. If you were just cooking, it would have taken probably 15 minutes to prepare the whole thing, and then
it didn't take
it says it takes an hour. So if we hadn't have been mucking around, we'd have this. Now Lady Pegasus says a nice puff pastry would go down real well. Well, it would if I wasn't keto.
A nice what?
Puff pastry. Puff pastry. That's what I think
you could love a pie dish and whack a bit of puff pastry on it, and it would be sublime, I'm sure.
Absolutely, but I used to love when I did stuff with pastry. I used to love getting phyllo and I'll put this on my face for a while. You're probably all sick of seeing. The problem with that angle is even though I've lost weight, aprons aren't very flattering, especially white ones. It's like everyone's just looking at my gut the whole time. I used to love getting phyllo and opening the sheets out and then just cutting them in half and then just scrunching the phyllo up and then putting balls of phyllo around the top and butter and herbs and stuff. Oh, my God. Yummy.
Look, I just get puff pastry and whack it into little matches. Bake it, split it in half, put cream and jam in it, and dust it with icing sugar, and that.
Oh, just like a little sweet treat.
So, but it's a very quick and very tasty dessert.
It would be. So you're going to run us through. A very quick and easy dessert too is eggless cookie dough mix. Raw cookie dough without the egg. So do you want to run us through the cheesecake because it's a keto cheesecake? So I'm keen to hear what you've done.
Yes. Look, the recipe is from the same site.
Uh-huh.
So I just
is it a lemon and poppy seed or a lime or
no? It's lemon.
Lemon, yeah, nice.
Yeah, so just
What did
Okay.
you use for the base? Does it have a
So,
base?
look, I won't. You can get the recipe off thedietdoctor.com.
Hang on, I'll get it right now.
It's called keto cheesecake. Sorry, I've just got my phone with me. And
Oh, I'm getting it now, and I'll get the link up. And the one with the blueberries.
yeah, that's the one.
This is the one I've wanted to make forever. I made on Anzac Day weekend. I made keto friendly Anzacs, and they were not. I mean, they weren't good. And they weren't from the Diet Doctor website because obviously being a Swedish website, they don't have an Anzacs recipe. So I found it anyway. They weren't terrible, but they tasted too healthy. So I've frozen them, and I'm just going to use them as a base for the cheesecake. But I'm just going to pop the link to this one because I've wanted to make this for a long time. And
okay, yeah. Look, I haven't had it
on Facebook too.
I've tried a keto chocolate cake, which is really yummy, and I did send that recipe to you to give it a whirl.
The chocolate cake, yes, you did. But interestingly, over on Facebook, my mate Kim has just shared a recipe which another friend of mine, Nell, sent me this morning as well. So thanks, girls. You know me so well. They're healthy peanut butter Twix bars, and they've got peanut, like lots of peanut butter, obviously, but they've got like a crumb, and then they've got the peanut butter glugginess, and then they've got chocolate on top of that. But to make it, I had to go and get, and you can have dark chocolate in keto, so I got the 70% plus whatever, 85 or whatever it was, cocoa one. But I did have to buy maple syrup for this recipe, and maple syrup's a big no-no apparently in keto land. So I'm going to be a bit naughty. They are vegan and they are gluten-free, but they're not keto. The maple syrup kicks that out of the ballpark. And I just don't want to try making it with a different natural keto-friendly sweetener. So I'm going to be a bit naughty and make them. But yeah, interestingly, Kim's just said that too. But no, I will make the chocolate cake. The problem is I want to make it when I'm going to have some people visiting me because I don't normally bake a lot. And I've been baking heaps. And I've baked muffins and all kinds of shit. And they're all keto friendly, but I end up eating them all.
This is my friend, Stevia.
Yes, stevia. I've got the stevia monk fruit combo.
Yeah. So it's supposed to be 100. It's not aspartame or saccharin or those other.
Hey Emily, welcome, gorgeous. Good to see you in the YouTube world. But what would you use as a keto-friendly sweetener to swap with maple syrup, like agave nectar? It has to be a liquid thing.
Oh, okay.
Like what's in the cheesecake? What's the sweetener in that? Is it the stevia?
This is another sweetener that was a vegan, kind of like a rice syrup.
Ah, yeah, okay.
It's malt syrup, so that's another natural sweetener. But I'm not sure of being rice that it's
no. Well, that's straight into carbs land because I love rice. That's the one thing with keto that I'm missing more than anything. Bread is rice.
So yeah, it's tricky doing the handball because you shouldn't really be using honey. Shouldn't really be
what did I buy? I made normal Anzacs too, and I used golden syrup, and then I ate them. So, a few blowouts along the way, but it doesn't matter. I've had so much fun baking because I've never been huge on baking, and I kept looking at my KitchenAid thinking, you really need to get used a little bit more. And I found the best recipe for 3-ingredient peanut butter cookies that is so good. So good. And they're with the stevia. Well, I think I did them with the monk fruit last time. Peanut butter and 1 egg. That's it. And oh my God, they're so good.
That sounds healthy. There's no sugar in it. I think
No,
the sugar,
they're keto friendly. So you literally just have a cup of peanut butter, half a cup of stevia, monk fruit, and 1 egg, and you mix it all up. You do need to wet your hands, but you roll it up into little balls, pop it out on baking paper on a baking tray, and then just flatten them with a fork, or not flatten them, but just push them down a little bit. And I think they cook for like 10 minutes at 180 degrees, and then you take them out and they just finish cooking on the rack, and they're so good. But you can chop up dark chocolate and put that through, or nuts, or whatever you want. So good and so easy and so moreish. You'll eat the whole bloody thing.
well, I mean, my dad being a baker, long time, he's not with us anymore, but he certainly left the gene in me. And I tried some keto bread rolls, which
Yes, I've done the ones off the diet soda, and they're great.
it's really weird because there's no flour, there's nothing like that. There's no yeast.
No.
And honestly, when they come straight out the oven with a dob of butter on it and some sesame seeds on them,
Yep, divine.
I honestly didn't notice the difference.
No, they're amazing, but you do have to
Really
be.
tasty. I don't know what they would taste like, you know, the next day. But
No, you just have to say, you'll notice.
you only get 8 bowls out of the recipe anyway. So if
Yeah.
I was doing it, I'd do it for as a dinner party thing. And
Yeah, you do, because you will notice the difference the next day. As long as you always warm them up, they're fine. But you won't get up in the morning and slice one and have, whatever you'd like to have inside it, like butter and cheese or whatever. It's not right. You do need to keep heating them up. Right, so the foil's coming off, and halfway through, this is what it looks like. It looks like a cooking casserole without browning on the top. Back in for another 10 or until the top is brown, and we will be going for brown.
Unfortunately, I've got done with the cheesecake having a much longer cook at the end because it is a baked cheesecake.
Yes.
So it's not like you can. My mum used to make cheesecakes years ago. Chuck the gelatin in, whack it together, pop it in. Just all happen.
How much longer does it have to go?
Probably a little bit longer. It still feels a little bit wobbly on the top. So
Right.
But look, I've done the hard yards. All I need to do is whack the temperature up, pop it in. The hardest thing for me was I read the 300 mils as 300 grams on the damn recipe. So it was 50 mils of almond flour, but I did 300. So I had to double the base, which was just butter, almond meal, and vanilla essence or extract.
Yeah.
Not difficult, and you just melt the butter until it's like not burnt, but a nice sort of nut brown.
Nice,
That gives the flavour. And I must admit, when I took it out of the oven after the first cook, the base, it's not exactly like a cheesecake.
Yum.
Good taste. So it's just 3 ingredients, and you mix that together so it gets kind of like a bit sort of combined. And then unfortunately I don't have a really leak-proof spring pan, so I had to put a lot of sort of tin foil in it and bake it. So the liquid wouldn't run out and whatever. But it was the right size, so I did that. That was really the hardest thing, basically, is just putting the what would normally be the biscuit crumb into the base and spread that out evenly. And because I had double the recipe, I could go up the sides of the pan, which sometimes you do, but in this recipe, it was just literally the base.
Right.
I'm not quite sure how that will work. It might. The sides might burn. I don't know. Whatever. Anyway, I did double the recipe. So.
Yeah, again, necessity is the mother of invention. Now, in chat, they're talking about how gross stevia is, and I cannot recommend this stuff highly enough. I use monk fruit sweeteners.
Right.
You don't get that stevia flavor, but this particular packet that came, I ordered a mystery box of keto snacks and products, and they sent me this salted caramel monk fruit. Holy shit, it's great.
Wow. I've not seen it before.
This is the same mob that the other day when I made the gummy bears. There's low carb. It's low carb keto is what LO.
But yeah, that looks really interesting.
Yeah, it's great. And I mean, you don't obviously I've got plain as well. You don't have to use the salted caramel one, but this just adds a whole new dimension when you are using it because that yummy salted caramel flavor is amazing. So I highly recommend. And I'm not sponsored by those guys.
No, I'm certainly not sponsored by the stevia, but look, it does my sweet tooth okay, and I don't mind using it when it's in like a tablespoon as opposed to a quarter of a cup or half a cup, which would necessarily be the replacement for a lot of recipes that my mum and my dad used to do. There would always be a portion of sugar, either a quarter to half to a cup of sugar, and this is like cup for cup. So you would use this the same. If it was a cup of sugar, you'd use a cup of this. It's not cheap by any means, but the keto recipe was really, really great in terms of that you actually didn't need to put a sweetener in the cheesecake itself. No, you didn't need to. I opted to put it in because, as I said, I have a bit of a sweet tooth. So literally the only sweetener in it would be 2 tablespoons in the base.
Right.
You don't actually need to put it in the cheese, cream cheese
stuff. Interesting.
Mm.
You could always put, have we done the filling? Did you mention the filling? Did it have lemon zest in it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a lot of cream cheese, 600 grams of cream cheese.
Well, I love the cheese. I love the cheese.
That's quite a bit. 2 eggs, 1 egg yolk, a couple of teaspoons of lemon zest, no lemon juice, just the lemon zest.
Yeah.
A little bit of vanilla essence and some cream.
Nice.
The actual quantity, I'm not sure, maybe 125 mils cream, and you just beat that together. So
sounds bloody good.
Not really complicated. You just whack it in one of those, beat it until it's nice and smooth, and just pour it into the base. The hard thing is just like yeast-based products is the cooking time. There's 45 to 50 minutes waiting for it to finish cooking. So.
Yeah, but it's a cheesecake, a guilt-free cheesecake.
I know.
Years ago, a girlfriend of mine and I went to Weight Watchers, and I think she'd been doing it for a little while, and I did it for a little while, but I got sick of it. It was back in the day when you had to count points. But the only thing, and maybe you still do, I don't know, but the only thing I remember from it was they gave you I think you could have 20 points a day, and they gave you examples of things and what the points were. And I've never forgotten this one slice of normal cheesecake with sugar in it, 17 points for one slice. And I remember I'd be quite happy to just eat a piece of cheesecake one day, and that's my meal for the day. It's worth it. But yeah, I've never forgotten that. Could you think about it? 20 points would be divided across 3 meals with veggies and protein and fruit and everything else, and this one tiny piece of bloody cheesecake took up almost your whole daily allowance. But this cheesecake, No guilt.
My nan used to watch the Golden Girls religiously. I remember every Friday night we'd go up there. I don't know what was on Taz TV at the time, but Golden Girls appeared at one point and we'd all be sitting around watching that. And every time the girls had an issue, they'd be sitting down eating cheesecake.
Yeah, it's bloody good food for you. I'm just having a look at chat to see what's going on. Lady Pegasus says a lot of companies are now changing the recipes on their products. Yeah, so they're putting, I think, by the sounds of it, stevia and stuff like that. But I mean, to be honest, I mean, don't get me wrong. Things like Diet Coke and stuff like that, if I had to try that now, I reckon it would make me feel really sick. I haven't drunk Diet Coke for years and years and years. But in a way, if they are getting rid of sugar and putting things like stevia and monk fruit sweeteners in that are natural for future generations, it's got to be a better thing, surely, than all those other. Because like Diet Coke had this chemical in it that had a name that virtually wrapped around the label 3 times. It's really addictive, apparently. But I used to, drink rum and Diet Coke, and people would go, you kind of, cancelling one out, like rum's full of sugar. It's like I actually can't stand I couldn't stand the taste of Coke, but I could handle Diet Coke or Coke Zero, whatever it was called. But I haven't drunk that shit for years. So in a way, if future generations are drinking soft drinks still and it's got natural sweeteners, surely that's got to be better than the crap we consumed for years.
I guess the problem is that they're not probably drinking the Coke, no sugar and Diet Coke. They're the ones that gravitate towards Coke or Fanta or...
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like, for the kids that are drinking that shit, it'd still be better if say they're drinking Coke. I remember, you would have seen online how many cups of sugar or teaspoons of sugar there are in a glass of Coke. Like, it's crazy. It's a huge amount.
Yeah.
So at least if they're making them with natural sweeteners, then I don't know.
Look, if you do that change, I reckon that's a damn good thing. I reckon it's brilliant. So if Coke is no longer sugar based, but based with the monk fruit or whatever those other natural ingredients are instead of sugar. But yeah, there's huge lobbies with the whole sugar thing because it's huge...
terrible. I mean, it bothers me that primary school age kids drink soft drink already. That just blows my mind. I mean, Mum was so anti that sort of stuff, and I remember even going to friends' houses, and those little icy pole makers that you could make homemade, and they're still around, but the plastic molds. So I'd go to a friend's house and her mum would have made them with lemonade. So you'd get to have a lemonade popsicle. And my mum would use the leftover juice out of like a tin of pears. That's what our popsicles would be. So guess whose house I'd be going to for popsicles, not the bloody leftover pear juice out of the SPC tin at my place.
Yeah, they still make it.
And, the only sort of remote kind of soda-y type job, we did get a soda stream fairly later on, like sort of heading towards matric age. But my mum used to drink brandy and dry. So if you really were hanging out for fizzy drink, you had to have dry ginger ale, which I love now. But as a kid...
Mum always used to have diet ginger ale and I hated it. It was so foul. But when you were desperate, you'd open it up because it was always one of those little, like, Schweppes bottles.
Yeah.
Oh, because that was the only fizzy in the house.
Actually, the other fizzy in the house was tonic water, and I did develop a taste for that, and it's not surprising I do like a G&T these days. But, if there was tonic water around, that was a bonus. But, yeah, those cute little bottles. But, God, diet ginger ale. But I remember as a kid drinking just, normal ginger ale, dry ginger ale. It was so dry and miserable. It wasn't like the Fanta my friends down the road were having.
Yeah, I did like Fanta. I did like Sprite, but I did gravitate towards the the Diet Coke. I got sick of the taste of sugar. It was just so sickly.
I never liked Coke. Even when, as a kid, if we went to the corner store on Sunday with our pocket money after church, if I did buy Coke, even as a little kid, I never liked it. It used to make my teeth feel weird, and never a fan. But g'day, Rustic Mockery, who's arrived in YouTube world. And Ruth is saying, oh, they're just chattering away, but she lives on homemade soups and not much sweet stuff. Don't crave sweet stuff. She craves samosas, avocados, and bananas. I'm craving chicken liver pate, but the reason I'm not making, because it is actually keto friendly, but the reason I can't make it is because I haven't got any keto friendly crackers to serve it on. So I've got to make the crackers first. But I could kill me a chicken.
Yeah, it's pretty hard to do chicken liver pate without it. Like, I don't know, old school was like a little triangle of toast.
Yes.
I mean, I went to culinary school, Drysdale House. That's how they always served it. It was like a little triangle.
The little triangles, yep.
Yeah, which was great. But, I mean, you know, you can have it on any cracker or anything as long.
Well, Janelle made, when we were live a few weekends ago, she made seed crackers, keto-friendly seed crackers. And there are quite a few recipes on the Diet Doctor website. I've just got to knuckle down.
So that's the go-to first, and then the pate.
Yeah, because I crave I'm a bit like Ruth, you know, I crave the savoury things. Chicken liver pate, yum, says Ruth. Lady Pegasus, my mum used to make the ice blocks with aeroplane jelly. They were great and didn't melt as much. There you go. I used to eat, when we used to go to school camps, my mum used to send us off with a box of jelly crystals that we used to just eat out of the box as a sweet treat.
No.
Did anyone else's mums do that?
No.
I used to take a box of jelly crystals, and that would be my, you know, like I guess other kids' mums would be sending them off with blocks of chocolate or whatever, but that was my sweet treat. I've just got to get a tissue. My nose is itching. And then, yeah, that would be, and I used to get really excited if it was red jelly, because that was my favourite, or the purple one. Serenity B, thanks for the memories. We made ginger beer at home in the outside laundry. I remember exploding beer bottles. Yeah, you've still got eyes. Exactly. And limbs. Yeah, I think, Serenity B, I think a lot of people have got stories about the homebrewed ginger beer exploding. It seemed to be a rite of passage. Did your parents do that, Glenn? Did they do the ginger beer?
No, but they conceded in me making it, and I made a mess of a lot of areas. The plant's easy. The plant's fine to like get that going, but once it's in the bottles, that's when it gets dangerous. So yeah, there was a lot of little dents and lots of little bits of sugar on the ceiling from opening them up or.
Well, the browning on top of my casserole. Oh, sorry. Oh, no, you've stopped.
I said I'm sure they hated me for it, but they conceded.
They conceded.
Yeah. Let's have a fucking beer.
I just checked my casserole, Glenn, and the browning is coming along nicely. But even more so, it smells amazing. It smells amazing.
I'm yet to get to that point, but
we'll have to. But that's all right. It's still fun to cook along, and at least when your cheesecake is done, you can just whack it in. It's only going to take 20 minutes. I'm going a bit longer because I want mine really brown on top, but it won't take you long to cook it. But holy shit, it smells good. And I'll even do a little taste test.
You know, I reckon that'll do it.
Oh, Glenn's cheesecake.
Yeah.
Ruth is saying the UK usually sell jelly in cubes in Africa. Yeah, see, you had excellent. Ruth had boxes of jelly crystals for school as well. Lady Pegasus, love the homemade ginger beer my parents made. We had our own ginger growing in the backyard. Nice. Serenity B says, ha, 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 best name, the wet glass area. Oh, look at your cheesecake. So what happens now then? What happens now?
So it needs to cool down and then go in the fridge.
Yep.
So it needs to be cold before you give it a go.
Well, we probably won't be. We still won't be live when it's
a long process. It's not hard to get it together. It just takes time to. And I think when you good food normally takes time anyway. So.
God yes. But yeah, we probably won't still be live when you get to do a taste test. So we might have to. Well, you could always message me later on, and we could go live again. So you could do the taste test for us if you want.
I can do that, or I can send photos, or
no, we could go live.
That ain't going to happen. I can guarantee you that.
What?
I'll be putting it in the fridge, and it'll get eaten tonight. But it won't be me cutting it. My partner's a demon with the dessert.
Well,
if I make dessert, he won't be able to cope with that sitting there in front of him.
But he'll eat your casserole happily.
Well, yeah, but once that's gone, it'll be like, when's the cheesecake ready? When's the cheesecake ready?
Maybe take photos and stuff. You don't have to. We don't have to go live again later. We can send some photos, and when next time we catch up, you can tell us how it was.
Well, I'm thinking right now, I think it's going to taste damn good.
Well, if you want to crack it right now, go for it.
Well, it's pretty fine,
Do it, Glenn. Do it.
No, I can't because because it's egg based, it needs to cool. Otherwise, it'll just go everywhere.
True.
It'll just turn into a yucky mess.
Could you just try a tiny petite wafer thin piece?
A tiny wafer piece?
Yes.
Oh, and I have my dented fork.
You do? Is that a fork or is that a spork? No, what are they called? Splayed. Is that a fork or a splayed?
No, it's not a splayed. It's a kek fork.
A kek fork. Nice.
All right, I'm just going to take a little. Oh gosh.
Ruth buys jelly crystals from Indian suppliers. The jelly they sell is crystals and carrot, not gelatin. Yum. Hi, lovable rogues, back ready to eat. All right, Glenn has just put a little slither of his cheesecake in his mouth. Bit hot probably, but he's going back for another.
I'll be now before he gets home. No, that's really yummy.
Really yummy.
My mum used to use like coffee biscuits or whatever and bash the crap out of them and add butter.
Yeah.
That was the base.
My mum used to use not brandy snaps. They were brandy flavoured biscuits. What were they called? Butternut snaps. Mum used butternut snaps as her base.
They're pretty damn good too.
Yeah.
Or you could use nice biscuits as well, but they've got so much sugar on the outside. It's not really
necessary. We call them nice.
Nice. Well, I just call them nice.
Buckets and bouquets, right? But yeah, Mum used butternut snaps as her base for her cheesecake. So how's the base on that one?
I would say that it's a little bit more butternut snap because the butter has burnt quite a bit because it was almost burnt when it went in the oven and it's cooked. So that flavour with the almond meal, which is a nut, so I reckon it's probably more on the verge of that.
Oh, nice. And what about the filling? You're getting lots of pops of
quite lemony.
Yep.
Very cheesy. Very nice. I'm looking forward to a slice of that when it falls.
So how long is that going to last in your household with you and your partner?
Well, for me, it'll be one slice, but I can guarantee it'll be gone tomorrow. Yeah.
Life's short, you got to enjoy it.
At least it's keto.
Exactly. Now, Lovable Rogue had a positive meeting. Well, that's awesome. And Lady Pegasus said you just double dipped, Glenn. You double dipped.
Thank you for mentioning that. But there's really no one here that's going to give a shit about that.
Exactly.
If it was a particular function, I wouldn't have touched it in the first place.
No.
Yeah.
And she's only staring you. All of my subscribers on YouTube are they're not serious folk.
Yeah.
I know that I'm tongue in cheek and if they don't get offended, they leave. So mine's the casserole's out. Hang on, I'll turn.
Oh, okay. This is good because now I can see what I'm going to have in 20 minutes. Ooh.
So
I love that normal baking roasting pan. That's great.
It's great, isn't it? I bought this at a like an outdoor camping sort of store, and I love it. So my sauce didn't thicken up really, really well, but it's beautifully browned. It smells amazing.
Yeah, beautifully brown.
But yeah, I can see that there's a fairly runny sauce happening, but I don't care what I'll do.
That's what a casserole is,
Exactly. But I don't know, I prefer a thicker sauce, but that it's the first time I've worked with arrowroot powder, and it wasn't powder, it was flour, but I think it is the same thing. But I'll just let it cool down for a second. I'll do a taste test. But if it tastes like it smells,
it's going to be
everyone does a first on Tori's. There are lots of firsts on my channel. I don't think that was Glenn's first double dip, though.
No. Seriously doubt that, and I'm not prepared to go through the decades to work out how many.
Double dips have been. All right, so I'm just gonna let this cool a little bit, and then I'll do a taste test. And I think you're in for a really delicious dinner, Glenn, because it smells really, really good.
Oh no, I got the text messages to say how wonderful, this is fantastic. Beautiful! I can't wait.
What was that?
My partner messaging me because I said I'm making a keto chicken and mushroom. He was like slathering at the mouth about the whole thing.
Oh, cool!
I don't know. Of course, when I mentioned the cheesecake, that was like, yeah, it was almost beyond.
You're going to be very popular
beyond gratitude, really, about what I do.
Probably going to get a whole lot of loving for all your good cooking. So I'm just giving myself a little test.
Great. Okay.
And I did actually chop up some fresh parsley. It did say, the recipe does say snow pea sprouts, which I love, just the tendril bit. But
I did see those, but I didn't think peas were on the keto list. So I thought if I buy them, they're just going to go in the bin, and I thought, no, not going to do it.
No, well, it's just the tendrils. I reckon in Sweden you can probably buy in the micro herbs section of the greengrocer little bags of just the tendrils. The tendrils are fine. But I'll just let it cool down a little bit, and I'll do a taste test for you. But if it tastes like it smells, with all that beautiful, it's really hot. It's piping
hot.
It's piping hot. I don't want to burn my mouth, so I'll give it a minute. I watch a girl, a cooking channel on YouTube, and she's so cute. She always tastes what she's cooked as soon as it comes out of the oven, and she sits there with her little fork and blows on the food for ages. And she's just got the cutest little puckered up mouth, and she just sits there blowing and a very Southern American accent.
Yeah. Okay.
Sarah, don't put it in your mouth. It's still too hot. And she's just there for ages. It's very cute.
She's going to taste right fine.
What was that?
It's going to taste right fine.
I'm just going to cut up the chicken a tiny piece because then I can have a whole mouthful with cheese. I think this has got cheese, spinach, mushroom.
Really burnt, really hot cheese in your mouth. There's an ulcer for a week.
It's not good, is it?
No.
They're all stirring you about the double dipping, which is hilarious. And Lady Pegasus says we're here for a fun time, nearly always a laugh a minute, which is what we're after, isn't it, Lady Pegasus? Lovable Rogue says she's going to be doing the recipe after having a crack at you for your double dipping. But you're so right about the melted cheese. Like, fucking hell, remember we used to call them brevels, but, like toasted cheese and tomato sandwiches that you'd make in the brevels.
They're the worst. I think the tomato is actually worse than the cheese. That whole thing worse than an apple fry pan, for Christ's sake.
This is so good. And, oh, yum.
Is that good?
Yeah, it was worth all of the stages. But you know what my favourite thing in it is? My favourite flavour?
The mushroom?
No, the thyme.
The thyme. I was going to say that, but I thought, no, that's too freaking obvious.
Go the obvious with Hodgie in the kitchen. Oh, my God. And look, I mean, there's just giant globby bits of mozzarella cheese that's just covered all the vegetables. If you don't like cauliflower, I know I don't have a problem with cauliflower when it's cooked properly, but if you don't like it, you don't even taste it. You won't even know it's in there, but you're going to be getting the veggies. If you've got kids, this would be a great one for hiding the veggies, like hiding the cauliflower, because the mushroom chicken bit, kids are usually into mushrooms and chicken, aren't they? And cheese. This is so good. It was worth all those random stages we went through to make it.
Well, my partner in crime is back, so there'll be double dipping of the cheesecake before long, I'm sure.
Well, what would you give the I'll have to chat to you later when we catch up next time about what you think of the casserole, but what would you give your cheesecake out of 10? And
I've only double dipped the side of it, but
you're allowed to double dip when it's your home.
8.
8?
Yeah, but I'm coming from that era where you have all of that stuff. Family do. Somebody would be a baked cheesecake. Someone would do a frozen cheesecake. Somebody would do one in the fridge. There'd be cheesecakes everywhere, covered in cream and strawberries and all the rest of it. So, and I came from, both my mum and dad's sides, like big families. So anytime there was a do, there'd be all that sort of stuff, pads, sugar heaven, So trying to change my perception and my palate in terms of how that will be, I reckon it's a good 8.
Good 8. I was going to say, I mean, not only was that a very thorough review, I was going to say on my channel too, you can give scores well above 10 if you want to, just so you know, because I'm going to give this casserole. I've made quite a lot of the Diet Doctor casseroles now, and this is one that I would quite happily serve up at a dinner party because of the flavour. It's so yummy, and if I had people that visited and they were eating carbs, I probably would do a little bit of rice on the side or maybe some potato. Just a really nice crunchy bread roll would be yummy with it. But it's really good, and my favourite thing in it is the thyme. The flavour is incredible.
So do you reckon do you reckon fresh thyme would have really killed it?
I actually think the dry thyme is because there is a subtle difference, I think, in fresh and dried herbs, and I think the dried thyme it's more full-bodied than the. I mean, if I used fresh thyme, you would want to use a lot of leaves off a lot of sprigs.
Mm.
We would have been standing there doing this for ages. I mean, it would be beautiful with fresh thyme, don't get me wrong, but I think the dried thyme is the hero of this dish. It's really yummy. It kind of reminds me a bit of it's kind of coq au vin flavor, but way bolder. But that sort of delicate.
Oh, yeah. I love coq au vin.
Yeah, well, see, I find French cuisine really dull now. Like, I'll put a shitload of chili or hot sauce or something on top of it. But it's got that's the kind of palate that it's got. It's that sort of thymy, mushroomy, chickeny. There's obviously no wine in it, but it's way more robust. It's a real good, strong country casserole flavor. It's really good. I hope you enjoy yours.
Yeah, look, I don't think you can go wrong with can't go wrong with cheese for a start, but the sauce, chicken stock with cream and whatever thickener. I mean, I use the corn flour, but
this is why I love keto, Glenn, because the flavors are there. And I mean, I've always been a mad passionate cook, and I do a lot of Middle Eastern, Asian. I love good spicy, good hearty spicy. It doesn't have to be like spicy hot, but good bold flavors. And the reason I'm really loving keto is because the food has all those yummy things in it, like cream and cheese, and you lose weight while you're doing it. But there's also these really robust flavors in everything that they do. That's yum. So yum. I'm going to give it 20 out of 10.
Oh my gosh.
I know, right?
I'm really looking forward to getting this out the oven and doing its thing there.
Well, you enjoy that. Lady Pegasus, let's face it, she loves it all. Lovable Rogue's laughing at you being professional, Glenn.
Laughing at what?
Being professional. I think in terms of your review, because your review was very professional. That was so good, guys. Thanks for hanging out with Glenn and I while we cooked it. Glenn, I'm stoked that that's the cheesecake recipe that you did, because I keep looking at that. As soon as I can have some, like my sister or somebody down for a sleepover, I'll make it. I can't make it on my own, because I will eat nothing but cheesecake. That'll be like I will justify cheesecake for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I'll find a way to represent every food group in that cheesecake. And if you live on your own and you've got a whole cheesecake, you've got to eat it. You can't freeze it.
No, you'd be like the Golden Girls. You just bring it out and eat the whole damn thing. Find a freaking excuse. Don't worry about it.
Well, yeah, exactly. Life's short. We should enjoy it. But I think sitting down to a whole, maybe I'll have a look and see if I can do like a couple of little individual ones or something.
I think there was like 3 grams of carbs in it, and that probably came from the eggs.
Well, this is interesting because this casserole, there's 5 grams in it. So it's very low carb.
Yeah.
And it would probably be the mushrooms and would be the main offenders.
I reckon, yes. Yeah, that would have been the ones. Because I saw an omelette with smoked salmon that had like probably 1 or 2 grams. And it said, well, you could substitute if you were a vegan mushrooms, and it went up like 5 or 6.
Right, yeah.
So I figured that the mushrooms would probably...
And but because there were only 150 grams of mushrooms too, it wasn't a huge amount. So, but yeah, that casserole is delicious. I can't wait to hear what you thought of it when you've eaten it. And thanks. So we might sign off, I think. Unless there's anything else happening in chat. Lovable Rogue, I need to diet. Get on to keto. The other thing I love about keto is even though it does cost a little bit at the start because there's a few things in your pantry that you get rid of that you've got to replace with things like almond flour, coconut flour, that sort of stuff. It is actually really affordable eating because they're all into seasonal, local greens. Lots and lots of greens, and always, yes, seasonal and local. And it's really it's a really affordable way to eat. And I've done, bless you, I've done recipes using one chicken breast that I've managed to get 3 portions, like 3 servings, and they're big servings out of it. So yeah, that's another thing I love about it. It's not, some diets you end up paying so much money that can become a reason to stop doing it as well. But once you've replaced all of the processed flours and stuff with the right flours, like the almonds and the coconuts and stuff, it's not actually that expensive, I don't find.
If you go to the right places to get the almond meal can vary in price dramatically.
Yeah, it can. But I don't use a lot of almond meal. I do use almond flour, but I love almond flour. I love cooking with it. That's been one of the best things I've discovered whilst in self-isolation, is how good almond flour is. And yeah, it's great, isn't it? I'm never going back. Like, almond flour is amazing.
You can do that with the nuts and replace your normal flour with it. Incredible.
Here, Lady Pegasus, I go from one cooking show to the next. MasterChef is now on. Well, there you go. All you MasterChefers, go and watch The Professionals. Thanks for hanging out. Well, Glenn is sort of semi-professional. I did get into 2 of MasterChef and pulled the pin on it, but only because I didn't like George Columbaris and probably would have called him the C word a lot on the show. And didn't he turn out to be a gem? I knew he was a shifty fucker.
Yes.
In fact, I knew he was a shifty fucker. Well, I knew he was a shifty fucker back on the Ready Steady Cook days. He rubbed me the wrong way back then.
Oh, really?
Remember that show where they'd send them off to Woolies and they'd come back with mystery ingredients and the chefs would have to whip up?
Yes, I do remember that show.
Ready, Steady.
Always.
That's where he started out. I mean, obviously he had his amazing. It pisses me off so much. It pains me that 2 of my favourite Melbourne restaurants were both his. But his sort of media career started out on Ready Steady Cook.
Yeah.
Little shit. But anywho, thanks so much. That was really fun. It's fun having, because I imagine you would love it at home. When you have dinner parties and stuff, it's so much fun cooking with friends in the kitchen. So this has been cool, just to chatter away while we're both cooking.
Oh, this is my first time, and it's really been great to reconnect with you.
It's been fabulous.
Last year, I'm thinking, there she is. I'm sure. No, I can't go up because I'm not 100% sure. Because I've done that a number of times, gone up to people or at least said hello, and they look at me and go, "Who the fuck are you?" And it's I'm really wary about that because that's really embarrassing. And
you were a natural for your first.
You said yes, it was me, and it was like, damn, missed that opportunity. But anyway, it would have only been a 5-minute chat at the airport, so this has been much more
it's been great.
interesting and fun.
Great. And you are a natural for your first time on the YouTubes.
Look at me go.
Everyone in chat, Lady Pegasus. I know George is no longer on the show. Do you not think I had the biggest party of my life when that guy's career went down the drain? You've got no idea. I'm well aware that he's not on the show. Just couldn't have come. Couldn't have happened to a nicer guy. I just hope he pays all of his staff all the money that he owes them. But anyway, I don't want to end on that note. No, I'm aware of the current series, Lady Pegasus. You go and watch them. Go and watch Poe and everybody doing what they're doing. I don't have commercial TV. Do you, Glenn?
I do, but I rarely watch it. I'm either on Netflix or YouTube or, I don't know, just watching other stuff. Occasionally there might be an old flick on, I don't know, one of the channels.
I haven't picked up on this, mate, but I just double dipped out of my casserole too.
There you go. Thank God somebody else has double dipped other than me.
Oh, it's just so good. I just can't wait to eat a big bowl of it. But thank you, Glenn. You were a natural for your first time on YouTube. You did a great job.
You, Tori. It's really been fun. Thank you so much. I'll let you know if the cheesecake finally works out.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Let me know how that goes. And also let me know what you thought of the casserole too, because I reckon that one's an absolute winner.
Yeah, and I'll send you through anything that looks keto fab, and maybe we can do this another time.
Well, I'll flick you through the it's not keto, but the vegan
Twix.
Help the Twix one, and see if you can. I know that Nell's keen, and I'd love to do a bake-off one day with 6. Lady Pegasus, you need to get up on a live and do some cooking with us as well. Yes. Lady Pegasus couldn't stand George either. Serenity B says good night to everyone. Going to the beauty parlor. Hubby going to colour my hair. Enjoy that. Everyone thought you did a great job tonight, Glenn. So let's do it again soon, and we'll start.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I'd never really watched MasterChef because I just can't stand any of those reality TV shows. Because I just know.
We'll chat about that another time. I do have a few that I love. Like, I'm a huge Survivor fan, but we can talk about that another day. And there's a few cooking shows. There are some really good reality, high-end cooking shows on Netflix that are really, really good. So,
okay,
like really good
channels, as you said. You don't watch. I don't watch them either, but I look at and see the ads sometimes, and I just think, no.
I can't remember what I read the other day, but someone was saying. It was an article that I read out for print. I do volunteer print radio. I read, I do a show and I read out news stories and I record them all at home and edit them and everything each week. But I did a story in my show that I do. I do this body and soul show. And I was just talking about things that have been going on in isolation. And James Weir, who's I can't remember what newspaper he writes for, but anyway, he did a brilliant article, but in that he said he can't watch MasterChef because of the full-on music and, all the tension and everything, and he's like, Poe's making a casserole, she's not fucking invading Poland. I kind of can't get where he was coming from. It's sort of like the music's a bit over OTT.
Yeah.
It's stressful viewing. But anyway, everyone, have a good night.
Lovely to catch up. Thank you so much. You enjoy it's coming out soon.
Yeah, we'll be doing more of this. It was great fun. Have a good night.
Absolutely. Catch you soon.
All right, bye, gorgeous. Bye.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.
He is